welcome to the video. I'm gonna be honest, I half expected nobody to click on a breakdown of Reddit. I mean, it's Reddit, what could there be to talk about? Well, it turns out there's actually quite a bit. So today we're gonna talk all about Reddit, what it is beyond the surface level. We'll talk about the edge it has, what makes it stand out as a platform, what makes it stand out as a company, and then we'll talk about how it makes money. So yeah, my name is Ash Anderson, and this is a tech breakdowns of Reddit. So let's start with the what. When you are looking for a product, a solution, or a travel tip, anything like that, where do you turn? You turn to Google, right? That's the default. That's everybody's default. Go to Google, hey, best fridge. But I know I'm not alone in this, right? There's a lot of us who immediately add the word Reddit right to the end of those Google queries. And I know I'm not alone because Google literally suggests Reddit for a lot of its autocomplete. You can type best fridge, you can type best TV, and Google will put best TV Reddit right there for you to go to the next thing. But why do we do this? Well, it's because the normal internet, the internet as we know it, is kind of broken. It's become filled with SEO, like just SEO spam, AI slop, affiliate blogs. You know, everybody's trying to make some money, but it's just chock-a-block with people trying to make money. They're fabricating reviews, hoping you go ahead and click on a link. Going directly to Reddit, though, that usually fixes it. You get in human thoughts, you get in genuine feedback, and rarely do you come across like affiliate links. Instead, you find the honest opinions of people who have actually use the products that you care about or use the product line that you're interested in. But yeah, Reddit is a social network, but it's almost more than just a social network, right? It's tens of thousands of active communities, a place where you can remain anonymous. You don't even need an account to browse. You can just look around. And it's a place where the currency isn't likes that bubble you up as a person. It's a place where the currency is answers. And so yeah, the internet is flooding with AI content, right? I'm not AI, by the way. But what is Reddit's defense against this? What is their moat? Reddit aims to be the final place that you'll find humanity on the internet. And yeah, there's over 100,000 active communities. They're making a strong case for it. In that world of AI-generated content, human experience is becoming a scarce resource, and that scarcity creates value. And so Reddit's CEO, Steve Huffman, who you will see, if you browse Reddit, you might occasionally come across a username of Spez. That is Steve Huffman, the CEO of Reddit. He's been pretty explicit about this, right? He said recently that now that AI is everywhere, our aim is to keep Reddit the most human place on the internet. I know what you're thinking, Bash, there are bots on Reddit. I came across a bot today. There's Reddit behind me. I'm sure there's a bot right there. Yes, you will find those bots. You will find AI slop. But Reddit has this mechanism that places like Facebook have it, Instagram has it, but it's not really as well equipped and as well utilized as Reddit, right? It's the downvote. That AI slop that you see, that AI comment that nobody appreciates, it gets downvoted. If stuff gets downvoted enough, it gets pushed away from view. If it gets downvoted so much, you're probably never going to see it. And if you're just browsing the front page of Reddit, yeah, you're probably never going to see AI slop because most of the users have already taken care of it and got it out of your view. What are we talking about in terms of volume? So there are more than 1.2 million posts made per day across the site. Those posts get north of 10 million comments each and every day. And in 2025, and obviously soon to be 2026, this is coming out right at the end of 25, but those 10 million comments, right, they are a commodity that simply cannot be synthesized by a machine. And I say that, right, but that's cannot be synthesized by a machine yet, I guess, because AGI any day now, and that'll maybe replace Reddit. But yeah, let's say, I mean, that is what Reddit is, pivoting away, right? People look at Reddit as just this messy message board, this old school forum. But if you actually look at the profit and loss, the income statements, it is operating more like a high-end software company. And one of those things that make it look like a high-end software company, margins. You look at competitors in the social media space like Snap. Snap has a gross margin of around about 50%. Twitter, back when it was public, you can look it up, it was around 64%. Even Meta is the king of social media, right? It has Instagram, it's got Facebook, but Meta, the king in the space, 82% gross margins. At the close of Q3, Reddit is at 91%. For the non-investors watching, right, gross margin is basically the money that you bring in minus the direct costs to deliver your product. So for a company like Reddit, those costs are the website. So there's a website behind me. Me loading that website cost Reddit some money. So that's part of their gross costs that will come out, that will be taken out. But those costs of website delivery, hosting the servers, making the mobile apps, getting them to you, that kind of stuff, and all the employee costs that go along with it. But Reddit is efficient and more efficient than, say, a Meta or a Snap or a TikTok or an Instagram. It's more efficient than those for a couple of reasons. The first reason is content. TikTok, Snap, Facebook, they host millions of videos. Reddit is primarily text-based. Text costs next to nothing to host. Another reason, and generally a reason why social media as a whole has high gross margins, right, is the cost of content. It is zero. The users are creating all the content. Reddit also has, though, this little bonus there in that a platform like Facebook, or Instagram or TikTok, they pay an army of moderators to make sure that that content is platform appropriate. Reddit does not have to pay an army of moderators to make sure their content is platform appropriate. The cost of moderation, very near zero. Users of the platform, they are the moderators. They do the work for free. Now, there are actually, some moderators to make sure that, things are still kosher, but by and large, moderation, free for Reddit. Financially, maybe we shouldn't call Reddit a social network. It's really a high-margin information utility provider at this point in time. But gross margins, right, they are only a small piece of the story. If you stopped the video here, thinking that Reddit is just printing cash, hand over fist, because they've got a 91% gross margin, you would be wrong. Because there's this other expense bucket, operating expenses, or OPEX that you might hear it called, that is actually a bit on the high side, right? This is the financial elephant in the room. Reddit currently spends about $1.7 billion a year on operating expenses. Well, where does that money go if the community is doing moderation for free? Well, operating expenses are generally your sales and marketing, your research and development. So in this case, yeah, that R&D spend, it goes to the engineers. It goes to those engineers that are building the ad platform, it goes to them that are building Reddit. Why am I telling you this? Because this is a key point, I guess, if you were to invest in Reddit or look at investing in Reddit. Reddit has operating leverage right now. Those gross margins that we spoke about, right, they're 91%. So that means that 91% of every new dollar that comes in, should Reddit keep its operational expenses flat, 91% of every new dollar that comes in goes straight to the bottom line if they keep that OPEX spend flat-ish. This puts them in a really, really good financial position, because if Reddit slowed hiring and said, hey, we've built the platform, we've built everything we need, or they aggressively monitor additional spending and revenue continues to grow at the 68%, right? 68% revenue growth. But if that revenue continues to grow anywhere near that, 91% margins, keeping expenses on the operational side relatively flat, they become massively profitable almost overnight. Most investors, right, they're modeling Reddit based on user growth, on ad growth, all that sort of stuff. To me, I'm looking at this as an opportunity to model the company on discipline. If they can keep that OPEX elephant on a diet, well, it looks pretty good. So how does Reddit actually make money? Well, it's ads, but it's not just any ads. This is another thing worth calling out. Consider Meta's platform, Instagram, Facebook. The ads that you see on those platforms are generally what's called low intent. You are there, you're on Instagram to be entertained or to see your friends, see what they're doing. You aren't necessarily on Instagram to buy a fridge. Google, on the other hand, is what's called high intent. Generally, the ads that Google serves are very high intent because you are on Google, you search best fridge. You probably want to buy a fridge. Reddit sits right there in the middle, but leans a little bit more towards Google. If I search best TV Reddit and land on the home theater subreddit, Reddit knows that it can serve me an ad for a new specific OLED TV or a sound system, a speaker set. They can serve me ads that I'm more likely to click on, more likely to buy products from. User looking at like best winter boots on the hiking subreddit is 10x more valuable to an advertiser than somebody that's doom scrolling dance videos on TikTok. That intent is why their revenue is growing so fast. And they aren't stopping at ads, right? They're pulling other levers too. They've got Reddit Answers. That's an AI search tool that's going to kind of compete with something like ChatGPT, which could allow for even higher intent advertising. Shopping is another thing that they're doing. They're allowing brands to sell directly in Reddit posts, which is going to be really cool. Data licensing, they sell their data to train LLMs, which brought in, it's not a big chunk of change, right? It was $36 million, but it is bringing in money. They're selling the data that users are generating for free to companies like ChatGPT, Google, those that are building these frontier models. They are turning Reddit, the site, into a money printing machine. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. We gotta talk about the downsides, as any good tech breakdown would. Every good story always needs a villain, and Reddit actually has a few. And, well, first, there is AI. It is a double-edged sword for Reddit. Reddit needs to sell data to AI companies to make some money, making more and more over time. But if AI gets too good, users might stop coming to Reddit. And I might just ask the AI instead. Plus, if bots start flooding the site to manipulate the data, the human magic dies. And second, there is the dependency on search. So roughly 50% of Reddit's traffic comes from Google. Those Google best fridge Reddit, those Google searches, those bring 50% of their traffic. Reddit is effectively living in Google's guest house. If Google changes their algorithm or decides to answer like best running shoes, best fridge itself with the AI overview that Google now puts at the top, Reddit loses half of its funnel overnight. So the verdict, right? Reddit to me is walking a tightrope. Making it all the way across that tightrope means that Reddit does become the trust layer of the internet. It becomes the only place left where you can like verify reality by interacting with actual humans. Falling off that tightrope though, really easy, because they could alienate users, they could allow the site to fill up with bots, those beautiful margins would collapse. There are a lot of ways that Reddit could fall off this tightrope. But my overall take is that the site has done a fantastic job remaining true to its core. I've used Reddit for probably like 15 years, I guess, maybe a little bit more, I'm not sure, but it's done a fantastic job remaining true to its core. It allows anonymous use, it battles the bots, it's finally figuring out how to make money without ruining the experience. I think that Reddit has a fantastic future ahead. There are risks, significant risks, of course, but I think that everything will pan out positively. But the market believes this too, right? Reddit is priced at like 22x sales, 100 and something x its earnings, I think 60, 70x future earnings. So the market is fully aware that Reddit has a lot of potential ahead of it. And I think it's justified, right? I think Reddit has a lot of future potential. There's a lot of outs, there's a lot of optionality, there's a lot of future growth that could come to Reddit. Especially things like, you look at its ad load, the ad load is not that significant at all. You got Reddit on the screen here behind me as I pull it up here and just show you me scrolling Reddit. You see an ad generally every 7-ish posts. You look at something like Facebook, you're seeing an ad roughly every 4 posts. People still use Facebook. I don't think Reddit should get in the business of like fine-tuning down to every other post being an ad. But they have that optionality there to show more ads if they need to, show less ads. They have still a lot to do in terms of giving ads to users, to companies, bringing that stuff up there. So lots of room still to push and pull on the ad serving side. They have Reddit Answers, which could become a much bigger tool. They have games, which could become a much bigger tool. There's probably the ability to monetize those games more efficiently than they do today. So there's games, there's ads, there's bringing shopping to the platform. There are a lot of potential avenues that Reddit could take this. There's a lot of future ahead of it. I just think, yeah, the big risks to watch out for, especially if you're investing in this company, are Google's ability to turn the lever on how much traffic Reddit ultimately sees. That would be bad. And any sort of platform changes that say, hey, maybe we want to steer away from anonymity, or maybe we want to force users to log in, that would be just catastrophic to the future growth of Reddit. But thankfully, the CEO, Spez, again, you know, he's posted on many of these Reddit threads, especially around like earnings time, about like, they don't care to do that. So as long as he remains in control and isn't swayed a different way, it seems as though Reddit is on a great and fantastic path. That has been a tech breakdown of Reddit. Hope you enjoyed it. Check out techbreakdowns.com if you want to read in more detail about Reddit. But yeah, I'm Ash Anderson. I will see you next time. Have a good one.